So I often get a lot of compliments on my chest, and although it's very flattering, the question that always follows is, how do I get mine to look like that? So I'm going to show you some of my favorite moves. However, first, I'm going to go on a little tangent, because growing your chest is not just about doing the specific moves, it also has to do with form and frame. I like to imagine this as a little slider. If you've got a great frame, you know, good genetics, nice broad shoulders, then your form doesn't have to necessarily be perfect in order to build a pair of natural bazongas. They're just naturally going to come in easier. However, if your form is perfect, you can still grow a nice pair of milkers. Okay, I need to tone it down a little bit. I'm going to lose my straight audience. The shirt is going back on. What I've noticed when I watch videos about chest development is that the people with really nice frames often focus on teaching specific movements that have worked for them. You know, they'll be telling you to do incline presses and flies and a nice bench press, and they're not wrong. But in my opinion, how you lift is more important than where you lift. Does that make sense? And because of that, we are going back to the basics, and we're going to talk about push-ups. If I'm going to be blunt, there's a very good chance that your push-ups suck and they're holding you back from a lot of progress. Not to mention, if you can perfect a really good push-up, that form that you're learning is going to have a ripple effect and improve a ton of different movements in your daily routines. So let's get into it. First of all, the push-up is known for working your chest, triceps, and shoulders. However, the real muscle group that holds it all together are your core, hips, and legs. So the first thing you want to focus on is tightening your core. Ideally, with your push-up, you want to create a straight line from your shoulders to your hips to your heels. If you're not engaging your core properly, your waist is going to dip down. So make sure to push those hips back. However, if you push them back too far, you're going to curve your back and put a lot more extra pressure on your lower back. And that's not where the tension's supposed to go. We want that tightness in our core and in our chest. So squeeze those butt cheeks together and tighten that core. Now, when I say tighten your core, I do not mean squeeze your abs. Abdominal muscles are not the same as your core. Your core does contain your abdominals, but it also has your obliques, some back muscles, your hip flexors, and your diaphragm. So it's important to visualize your core not just as a collection of muscles, but everything in your center. And I'm focusing on this because not knowing how to engage your core is a very simple way to set yourself up for failure. As a trainer, there are 2 tricks that I use for teaching people how to tighten their core. The first is that I'll have clients stand up against a wall with their back straight and pull their belly button into their butt while maintaining constant breath. And the second is that I'll have clients blow out air as hard as they can through their teeth. The muscle that engages that movement is the diaphragm because it's expanding so you can blow air out of your lungs. And that is the kind of tension that you should be holding for a plank or a push-up or any other lift. So back to the push-up. You're going to tighten your core while also squeezing your ass cheeks together without pulling your shoulders forward. And then you're going to create a 45-degree angle with your arms. If your elbows are too far fanned out, it's going to put a lot more pressure on your shoulders. And this is something people love to do when their chest is underdeveloped. Usually this is subconscious, but they are bringing their body weight forward so they can overcompensate with other muscle groups. That's bad. And let's put a pin in the underdeveloped chest thing I just mentioned. I have a trick for that, but we will get to it after reviewing the basic push-up. The last point should be obvious, but you gotta go all the way down. CrossFitters in particular love to do this, always filming themselves with those kipping pull-ups and those little halvesies push-ups, as if I can't tell. But that's neither here nor there. Now to review, a push-up needs a nice straight body with a tight core. Then you need those arms tucked in, and then you gotta go all the way down, diva. If you can master this, not only will it leave you with a big, beautiful pair that will leave you struggling to cover up your shame on a cold winter's day, but also you will be teaching yourself what it feels like to properly engage your body, and that lesson is universal. Now, we are still not done because, as mentioned earlier, what if you can't do one push-up? Well, the first thing you can do is not shame yourself because it's honestly much more common than you think. If you're having trouble doing a push-up, get on your knees. That will cut the weight in half. But just because you've put your knees down doesn't mean you're out of the woods yet. Some people love to push their hips back, and that's cowardice. By moving your hips back, you are eliminating all the weight that you were previously lifting despite being on your knees already, meaning that you're just going through the motions, and that's bad. The exact same rules here apply to your knee push-ups. The only thing you don't have to worry about is keeping your legs straight because they're out of the picture. But Kevin, what if doing a push-up on my knees is still too hard? Too bad, you're not getting out of PE that easy. I still have a trick for you. If you're someone who really struggles to push yourself back up, then what will really help is focusing on just the first half. You're gonna get into that push-up position and you're gonna slowly lower yourself down all the way to the floor. Then get yourself back up and do it again until your arms are fatigued. Sometimes with my clients, I'll have them hold a high plank for 5 seconds and then count to 3 as they lower themselves down, and then do that again and again. But wait! There's more. I bought this whiteboard so I can specifically do that. Please like and subscribe. Flies are another simple movement that I think are often not engaged properly. So for your fly, you want to keep your arms slightly bent. You want to push your chest out. And last, we're going to keep our elbows down. Now, this is all basic information. However, specifically with dumbbell flies, when you lift your arms past a 45-degree angle, gravity is no longer creating any resistance. So what I do is I finish the rep and I bring the weights in so they gently connect, and then I press the weights together as hard as I can. This creates so much extra tension in your chest, and it will change the way you visualize engaging with a pec fly. Flies are tough specifically because I'll see people only doing just about half the movement, and then they'll be adding more and more weight, but not seeing the results that they deserve. And it really sucks because that's how a lot of people get discouraged. So my advice for these: lower the weight, slow down the movement, and press at the top, and then comment down below thanking me for being so helpful and correct. Oh my gosh, that's such a bitchy way to end this. Anyway, as always, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section down below. I'd love to clear up anything that I might be saying or add extra specifics that are necessary. And yeah, that's all I got. So have a good one, guys.